Good morning, all of you. Myself, Professor Dhaval Chandarana, and we are discussing on the cyber law and ethics subject. And we are continue on our unit number 1, known as Introduction to a Cyber Law. Guys, as previous lecture, I hope you are enjoying, and I hope you like to my method to explain, where we will discuss some of the points. We will discuss each and every term with a related example. So I hope you are enjoyed. Today we will discuss a same concept in form of introductions of cyber law. As previously we will discuss one of the point of introductions of cyber law in unit number 1, known as evaluations of computer. And what was the requirement to discuss the evaluation of computer, we will discuss in our previous lecture. So guys, we will discuss a same manner with a different concept. Today we will discuss emergence of a cyberspace, cyber jurisprudences and law. In a jurisprudence law, we will discuss a 3 different approach: doctrinal approach, consensual approach, and a real approach. Guys, a same way we will discuss all the points in a step-by-step video. So if you have any doubt regarding any point or any concept which we are discussing throughout the video lecture, please contact me. So today we will discuss emergencies of cyberspace. First we will discuss what is a cyberspace. All thought it may seems like a new idea. The net has actually been around for over 40 years, and what was the 40 years? It should be a 1990 to current era. It all began in the United States during the Cold War as an university experiment in military communications, because now we know that what was the demand to generate or born a computer system. The decision was made to link a lots of computers together in a network instead of serially, or we can say in a straight line. Means if we want to communicate with one computer to another computer on any of the remote locations, we know that we require an internet word or an internet technology. The Pentagon thought that if there was a nuclear attack on the United States, it was unlikely that the entire network would be damaged, because if some attack was born on a nuclear attack, then it should be damaged all over the United States, and therefore they would still be able to send and receive intelligences, because whenever some found on a damage on a particular country, they want to communicate with another because of his or her helping. At the first, each computer was physically linked by the cable to the next computer. It is concept of a straight line concept. But this method had obvious limitations, because they have required some more space to arrange a computer on a straight line. The problem was corrected by the development of networks utilizing the telephonic system, who can introducing a internet. Predictably, people found that a nuclear strikes or not, they could talk to each other using this computer network, because if it should be happened, then they can develop the network, it should be a let. So therefore they can develop or going to develop a sum of the technology through which each computer will be communicate with a sum of the network technology. Eventually some university student started using this network to do their homework together, because it's take some personal use also, and it's take some professional or business level use also, because the communication will be happen with 2 and more than 2 system. On a student life, they want to communicate for the homework, so they can use it with the internet technology. It seems a natural human characteristics to want to communicate, and one people realized that they could talk to other people using this computer network, and they begin to demand access, because every new technology is developed due to some current demand, or we can say end user demand. At first, the user were only from the university and the government sector, because whenever some technology it should be come on the market, they're never introducing on a local public. They first realize a different advantage, some of the disadvantage, and then finally they launch some product on a for public general market. But more and more people could see the possibility of computer network, and various community groups developed a network separations from the official network to use in their local community. Because whenever some new technology it should be come in the market, everyone want to try to use those new era of world. It is known as a network or internet era in 1991. Add all these various local, regional and national network together and you have to internet as a experience it today, because now we want to communicate our people with help of internet like video call, voice call, text message, sending a message, images and lots of things, and ever expanding network of people, computers and information. Now they can provide a group of facilities, online Google Meets, and a geo can expand this technology on a 3D level. So it is a expand of a internet era. Today the internet is being used in a way the Pentagon never dreamed of 40 years ago, because now we know that what is the actual requirement of internet. Geo provide a daily basis on 1.5 GB data, then also we have want to more some data. So you think that what was the actual requirement of internet technology? What began as an exercise in a military paranoid or a suspicious has become a method of a global communications, because as researcher level and a military level they must be required to communicate with the updated and latest tool and technology. For this they want to communicate with another nation, and for that they require internet technology. Now we discuss the actual concept about a cyberspace. A cyberspace is a term coined by William Gibson in his fantasy novel Neuromancer to describe the world of computers and the society that gathers around them. Gibson's fantasy of a world of connected computer has moved into a present reality in the form of internet. In a cyberspace, people exist in the enter. You meet them electronically in a disembodied, faceless form. The paragraph is very complex, but the end of paragraph we just conclude that whenever we perform video call, we just watch some another person on our mobile screen and we communicate easily in a simple way. So whenever we want to communicate with some another remote local people or remote locations people, whatever the data should be transmitted for our system to another system or remote system, it's nothing but a cyberspace through which both the party can transmit some of the information with help of internet technology. Now we discuss a cyber jurisprudence. Jus and a precedentials is a Latin word which begin a mutated as a jurisprudence. The English meaning of jurisprudence is knowledge of law, and now we will focus on the law which will happen in a cyber world. Cyber jurisprudence is the study of law which is directly related to a cybercrime, as we discussed on our first lecture. Why we discuss a computer innovations or evolution? Because now onwards or a subject demands knowing about how a cybercrime is happened with help of computer, and against this crime what are the different cyber jurisprudences is available. So a cyber jurisprudence also describe the principle of a legal issues which exclusively regulates the cyberspace and the internet. Cyber jurisprudences give us to analyze of the law where there is no land and even there is a no borders because it is on a cyberspace. And cyber is nothing but the virtualized environment where a people are communicate with each other. They have a no physical boundary and physical demand. Where all the things may be a different from the physical world. They may be a virtual from the original and a natural. In short, a cyber jurisprudence deal with the composites idea of a cyber jurisdictions. What is a cyber space? As we know that whenever user want to communicate with each other without any kind of physical content, it's become a cyberspace. And for this, what was the jurisprudences and law? First we discuss a law. Law is a system of rules that are created and enforced through the social or governmental institutions to regulate a behaviors. Law is a system that regulate and ensures that individuals or a community adheres to will of a state. As an example says, current state or government generate one law, you must be wear a mask whenever you are on a public area, or we can say on a public group. So it is one of the law as market demand that current people want to wear a mask. It is a mandatory thing. If you're not wearing a mask on a public area, then you say provide some fine. Same way on a cyber crime, on a cyberspace, some of the law should be defined against a cyber crime, and which is the public is want to know what are the different law are available. Because nowadays every organizations, every human being will be communicate with a cyber network, and in this cyber network, cyber crime is happening, and for this, government introducing each and every law against a latest crime, and you must be know or aware about those laws. State enforce a law can be made by a collectively legislate or by a single legislators, means group of people or a single people, resulting in statutes by the executive through a decrees and regulations or established by the judge through a precedence, normally in a common law jurisdictions. Because on somehow some situation may be happen in a group of people on a single people, for this government want to decline those kind of situations. For this they introducing some of the law for a people and for the group of peoples. Law provide a source of a scholarly inquiry into the legal history, philosophies, economical analysis, and a sociology. Law also raise important and complex issue concerning equality, fairness, and justice. Like a gender equality, it is one of the law. On a before we consider a 2005, they have only two gender, male and female. So for the third gender people or transgender people, generate some issue regarding his or her personal privacy. For that, government accept those situations and generate a law against equality, or we can say general equality, and they can provide some reserve quota against a transgender people. So whenever we discuss a law, it should be demanded or created by some another demand basis of a current situations, and for this a government raise some law, or they can modify some previous justified a law. What was the jurisprudences? Jurisprudences or a legal theory is that the theoretical study of law principally by the philosophers, but from the 20th century also by the social scientists because a public are working on the social network. Scholars of jurisprudence is also known as a jurist or legal theorist. Hope to obtain the deeper understanding of legal recognitions, legal reasoning, legal system, legal institutions, and the role of law in the society. We know all the laws regarding a physical damages, physical crime. But guys, nowadays physical crime is lower compared with the cyber crime. So for that, this subject is currently demandable and this subject is introducing in a particular semester. Modern jurisprudence began in the 18th century and was focused on the first principle of natural law, civil law, and the law of nations. General jurisprudence can be divided into the categories both by the type of questions scholar seeks to answer and by the theories of jurisprudence, or a schools of thoughts regarding how those questions are best answered. Like whenever we found some questions answers session on a physical class, it generates some specific output for the current questions or current market demand. So same way, a government issues some of the questions and public demands some answers or public generates some answer. Based on the question answer theory, they can generate some specific jurisprudence. Contemporary philosophy of law, which deal with the regular or general jurisprudences, address problem internal to law and the legal system, and problems of law as a particular social institute as a law related to the larger political and social situation in which it exists. Means a question should be covered on the both the case a law related a political as well as a social situations. So human being or a group of people answer of all the question and based on the question answer session they can identify the actual demand and the solution of this particular demand and then they can generate the jurisprudences. Now they have three different approach we will discuss on the first slide. It is a doctrinal approach. Doctrinal or we can say black letter methodology referred to a way of conducting research which is usually through of a typical legal research. Just you remember that doctrinal approach is also known as a black letter approach. A doctrinal approach to research will focus on case law, statutes and other legal sources which is mentioned by the government or which should be introducing by a government society. It differs from the methodology in that it's look at the law within itself. A pure doctrinal approach make no attempt to look at the effect of the law or how it is applied, but instead examine a law as written body of principles which can be discriminated and analyzed using only legal sources. Means whenever some cyber crime happened, they just found with this predefined case and based on a predefined case and found this your crime, they just provide some penalties. Like in a cyber crime, if someone want to take your own data or private information without any kind of permissions, the cyber law or jurisprudence mentions whenever some access a data without any kind of permissions, then what was the penalty? So they found some of the happening crimes and based on the predefined dictionary they just provide the penalty. So it is a comparison between your current crime and a previous historical crime and based on according that they just provide a penalty or maybe they can provide some jail. Second, it is a consensual approach or consensual approach. A consensual crime is a public order crime that involves more than one participant, all of whom give their consent as willing participants in an activity that is unlawful. Like demand of some of the law which should be provided by government, but it is not accepted by the people. So the group of peoples are against on a single law. So it is known as a consensual approach. Legislative bodies and interest group of sometimes rationalize the criminalize of consensual activity because they feel it's offends cultural norms or because one of the parties to the activity is considered a victim despite their information's consent, like rape done by the so many people on a single lady. So it is one of the case known as a consensual approach. Consensual crime can be described as a crime in which the victim in the state, the judicial system or the society at large and so affect the general known as a ideological or cultural interest of the system, such as common sexual morality. I will just give you the example. One of the movie from a Sanjay Leela Bhansali which should be displayed on a big theater screen known as a Ram Leela. They have generated so many big issues regarding some public orders. They have going for the against some public generalities or a generations of public. So against for those kind of crime, it is known as the consensual approach, and for this a government provide some of the informations regarding to update his or her movie as well as name of movie. They may be cut some of the shots and all the thing. After this happening, the movie should be available a theater for the public purpose. Same way, if some of the government issue some of the law, it should be not acceptable by some of the group of people or more people who can working on this criteria. If they are not acceptable, then they can going for against on those kind of law. They can deal with some of the constitutional approach, and based on the criteria they can convey the people as well as a group of people to accept that law, because it should be acceptable by a people and for the peoples. So whenever those kind of crime, it should be happening on a cyber world or in computer world, it's known as a consensual approach. Like a Facebook request, generate a bulk messages, generate bulk email address, generate a phishing attack, like generate a mail on lakhs of people and send it to the single click. If some of the person who can getting some response against ATM card informations, debit card informations, personal information, username and password, and with help of this information, if they can misuse all the information which is provided by the end user without knowing him or her personal data or personal privacy, then it is known as a consensual approach. The last one or last thing which we are discussing in today's video lecture is a real approach. In its general sense, a natural law theory may be compared to both the state of nature law and the general law, understood on the basis of being analogues to the law of physical science. Natural law is often contrasted to oppositive law, which asserts a law as the product of human activity and human violations. Guys, a human violation and human activity is an actual thing through which a law should be a demand. Another approach to a natural law, jurisprudence generally asserts that a human law must be in response to compelling reasons for actions. There are two readings of the natural law jurisprudence sentence. The strong natural law, this holds that if a human law fails to be in the response to compelling reasons, then it is not properly law at all. As previously we'll discuss, some of the law it should be generated by the government, like they can remove a text of the state level, they can use a tax according a national level like CGST, SGST. If they are not acceptable by the people and not acceptable by the group of people, then it should not be a proper law. This is a captured imperfectly in the famous maximum. Lex institutions non EST lex as unjust law in no law at all, because people are not accept those law and they can going to against on those law. So those kind of law which should be not acceptable for the people and for a group of people, it's not become a strong natural law. And the second one is the weak natural law. This is holds that if a human law fails to be in the response to compelling reasons, then it can still be called as law, but it must be recognized as a defective law. Means, on a first note, we will discuss a strong natural law. Means people are never ever accept those kind of law which should be generated for a people. But in a weak natural law, they can going to the against, but they are not much affected against those law. But the law is always known as a defective law. So whenever we discuss a real approach on a crime, or we can say cyberspace crime, it must be known as a strong natural law and the weak natural law. When a computer crime should be happen with help of group of people, and against those kind of crime, the government provides some of the jurisprudence. If it is not acceptable by people, then it's become a strong natural law. And if the law it should be happening in a real crime, but the people will not accept those kind of laws, so it's become a natural weak law. Guys, this thing which we are discussing in today's video lecture is a jurisprudence, cyberspace and different approaches which is provided by the jurisprudence code. I hope you are enjoying, and I hope you are learned something new from your department. I will try my best to explain each and every terms. If you found any kind of mistakes, if you don't understand any kind of terminology which we are discussing through the video lecture, please communicate with me. I will try my best to explain each and every terms which if you have any doubt. Thank you so much.